Hello, welcome back to the Daily Highlights. Great to have you joining us. My name is Astrid Froloff. I'm going to guide you through this session. If you want to get inspired and get some nice recommendations about the program of Falling Walls and the Berlin Science Week, you are at the right place. And I would like to introduce one event which is coming up, which is highly interesting. In times where we are confronted with a global pandemic, mistrust and misinformation, it seems that science engagement plays a more and more important role. And in our winner session today, we are celebrating researchers who will present their breakthroughs in their respective category in the field of science engagement. And I'm glad to be virtually connected now to the jury chair of the winner's session in the category Science Engagement and talk to her. Hello, Melanie Smallman, co-director of the new Center for Science Communication at UCL. Hello, nice having you with us.
Hi.
Melanie, how do you regard the role of science engagement today?
Yeah, I think that involving people in thinking about and doing science has always been really, really important. But I think this year we've seen, in the face of a global pandemic, that getting it right for some people can be a matter of life or death. So I think, whether you're involving citizens in helping them understand how vaccines work, or just encouraging more young people to go into science, I think it's really vital work right now.
Yeah, we are looking forward very much to see the breakthroughs of the year in this category today. And it seems there is a lot of creativity in it, a lot of enthusiasm. Can you give us a sneak peek into the category?
Yeah, we saw an amazing array of projects that are involving citizens in science and discussions about science from across the world. Every corner of the world was represented. We even had projects that were going into prisons to involve people in thinking about science. And we saw projects that were helping women and girls into science. We saw projects that were bringing communities together through astronomy. We even saw projects that were trapping people in science-themed escape rooms so that they could learn more about science. And the things they had in common was that they were original, like you say, that their owners were enthusiastic, but most importantly, they were really sort of breaking down that wall between science and society.
You obviously have a great overview over the subjects and over the projects we will see. What are your practical recommendations to scientists who want to engage the public?
Well, I think there's two really important things for scientists wanting to engage with the public to do. So first of all, think really hard about your audience. Think about who it is you want to engage, why they may be interested in science, but also think about what you could learn from them so that it's listening as well as speaking. And I think secondly, there's loads of projects engaging citizens with science. So look around and see if somebody is already doing or has tried what you're interested in, because you might learn something from them. They may have lessons for you. And a really good place to start are the engaged projects that we're showcasing today.
Melanie, can you tell us how does the pandemic change the way scientists are communicating their issues?
Yeah, well, I think it's become suddenly all the more important that people hear from the scientists about the science and have, a better understanding of how diseases and vaccines work. And I think one of the things that we have seen is scientists becoming much more visible. So a lot more pressure on them to communicate and a lot more need to learn from the past about how to do it better. So we've had a situation in the past few weeks where the scientists used lots of graphs in a press conference and loads of people found these really difficult to understand. So communicating effectively is really, really important. But the encouraging thing is that all of the surveys around the world have shown that public confidence and public trust in scientists has really gone up during the pandemic. As scientists have come out and communicated, the public have responded very positively to it.
Okay, thank you for the moment. Melanie, you stay with us since you will join the winner sessions. You will be the jury chair for the category Science Engagement. So thank you for the moment. Now let's talk about something different, about future technologies. Also in this field, the science engagement plays a very important role. I'm eager to talk about this with Martin Kugler. He is with the Austrian Institute of Technology. Hello, great to have you with us, Martin. Your institute
Hello.
is applying science to build the green infrastructure of the future. What is your vision about it?
Yes, the AIT, Austrian Institute of Technology, is Austria's largest research and technology organization. We have around 1,400 researchers and experts who support business and society, particularly in the areas of digitization, decarbonization, and other challenges of climate change. To answer your question, on the one hand, we have a strong expertise in fields like energy, mobility systems, low emission transport, health and bioresources, digital safety and security, automation, and so on. On the other hand, this specific expertise is not enough because we have to have a view on the whole systems. This is very important because it's not possible to solve our complex problems with a single solution. So to cope, for example, with climate change, it is necessary to combine expertise from different disciplines. We have to use synergies between them, and we have to avoid unintended consequences of our actions. That's our main point, how we deal with these problems.
Okay, well, the expert talks you are hosting during the summit today gives an image on how technology can shape a green future. Can you give us a little pre-taste, a little schmankerl, as you say in Austria, into some of the most interesting insights?
Yes, of course. In our expert talk, we get some insight in the fields natural resources, urban planning, battery research, cooperative digital technologies, and mobility systems. And for me, the most interesting issue is the future design of cities and regions. At the AIT, we installed recently a so-called City Intelligence Lab, where we combine new digital methods for designing smart cities. In this lab, it is possible to modify any design and compute immediately the effects this has, for example, on mobility of the people, on energy demand, or on heat episodes in the summer and so on. This is possible by removing all barriers between different fields of expertise, such as architecture, energy, mobility, and so. Instead of this former sectoral view, we use cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence or augmented reality to integrate all aspects in one platform. And this allows an integrated urban planning together with planners, with city administration, with the people who are living in the cities, with stakeholders and politicians. And this forms the basis for innovation and solutions for future cities and regions which are more sustainable, more resilient, and more livable.
Okay, looking forward to learn more in your event. Thank you very much, Martin Kugler, for giving us an insight. Well, what else is on our agenda today? Let me highlight some of our events. One event I would like to highlight is in German language. It's called Menschliche und maschinelle Intelligenz verstehen. And this is an event where you can play the game Mastermind. And by doing this, you learn about human and machine intelligence. There is another lesson coming up, lessons learned from the first DARPA-type challenge launched in Europe, an event hosted by the Joint European Disruptive Initiative. This will be today at 3 p.m. German time. The Family STEM quiz. This is something interesting. Join our Chief Imagination Officer from South Africa, Steve Sherman, for a fun family quiz and compete against families from all over the world. So this is something really new and an interesting way to communicate. Let's have a look at some more events coming up in the next 24 hours. There is one thing saying learn about career prospects for international junior researchers in Germany. This event brings together junior researchers and alumni from Technische University Berlin who have successfully established their career on the German job market. And the last event I would like to recommend is Institutionalizing Science Engagement. This is a workshop organized by the Falling Walls Engage team, tackling the question how we can improve information sharing and allow everyone to learn about and be involved in science. So, and now it's getting a bit slimy. We will talk about squids, snails, clams, the kingdom of the mollusk group, which is rich and is oddly fascinating. That's why the Museum für Naturkunde Berlin has decided a scientific variety show to the mollusks. The idea comes from the Berlin artist Ines Thalais and her ensemble. And the show wants to drive forward the dialogue between culture, science and society. So premieres in German are on November 8th and in English on November 11th. Get more about this.
Times like these show how important it is for science to be visible. The Museum of Natural History in Berlin has found a vivid and special approach to science communication, a scientific variety show. David Ziegler, the show's project lead, explains the concept.
Our contribution to the Berlin Science Week is the variety show Glitzern und Denken. It's a science variety show, so we bring artists and scientists on stage together to perform a show which has elements of circus, which has elements of theater and is themed by a scientific topic. This year our topic is slimy because our show deals with the animal group of mollusks, which consist of snails, octopuses and clams.
The new show wants to inspire people to be curious and create a fascination for nature.
We want to make an impact on the future by finding a new way of speaking about science. And this new way should less be guided by the principles of scientific report, but more by the principles of storytelling and by the principles of art, the way we speak with our friends and family. I think we have a great chance of improving our communication about science if we show our emotions, if we show our passions, because this will give us a different channel to the broad public and to the people, talking about which impact science makes for our everyday lives and how it helps us to make the world better. A great challenge in our project is finding a common ground for the artists and the scientists to work together. Because in a way they're very similar, because they both deal with human creativity. But in a way they're also very different because the way they express this creativity and the methods they use, their everyday life, are very different. A challenge of our project is finding a productive use of the frictions and the interference that this creates.
One of the main events during the Falling Walls is a series of circle tables. World-leading scientists and policymakers from academia are discussing the post-corona agenda. And today's circle table will present 3 international experts who have contributed to significant breakthroughs in water diagnosis methods. So this will come up today at 4 o'clock German time. As every day, we will close our daily highlights with a short story from German photographer Herlinde Kölbel. For her book Fascination Science, she visited a lot of highly interesting scientists all around the globe and brought back amazing pictures and fantastic background stories. Felix Rundl talked to her about the stories.
Herlinde, today's portrait is of Françoise Barré-Sinoussi, a French virologist who received a Nobel Prize for her work on HIV. What is the story behind the portrait?
You know, when she was a young scientist, male scientists told her it should be better to stay at home and take care of her children. But she said she refused this kind of things. And also she was very dedicated to her research. And a wonderful story, you know, when the wedding day came, she went to the lab to do a little bit research. And then suddenly her husband called, you know, we are here waiting with all the people. Where are you now? Today is our wedding. I said, oh, I forgot it because I thought the time is running and I didn't see it. And so immediately she went to her own wedding. And, you know, in 1983, she discovered that the HIV virus was the reason for the disease, but still it took a long time to find a treatment for it. And she got a Nobel Prize for her research, but still she is very modest that, you know, I'm a puzzle because many scientists contributed also to the research. Now she is retired and the lab is closed. And that's the reason in France always when you're retired. And she is still working as an NGO in several countries.